And we're standing here with our 2014 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Just purchased it last night from St. Charles Chrysler Dodge Jeep in St. Charles, Illinois. Now, when we got this vehicle, it was certified pre-owned. You can't see it, but I'm doing finger quotations when I say that. And I'll show you how ridiculous their mechanics are over there. It's I've made a checklist over here. Let's see, I got a list here of the items that I found already, and I've already found some that I didn't know about when I made the list. So let's start right here. Item 13, power steering fluid filled. That's what it says, but the fluid's actually below minimum. So we'll look over here at item 13, power steering fluid filled. You can see it's checked off. I'm going to go over here and I'll show you what apparently power steering fluid filled means. It's a Chrysler Dodge Jeep. If you look in there, you can see the float. And let's get a light on here. Maybe you can see it is actually below minimum. So that's apparently filled, according to St. Charles Chrysler Jeep Dodge. So there's that. Let's check the next one here. Item 14, washer fluid filled. The fluid wasn't filled. Here, let me show you on the checklist here. Item 14, wiper washer fluid filled. You see it's checked off. Go over here. You can see it's not terribly low, but it's certainly not filled. It's kind of close, I suppose. That's not terrible. Whatever, you can dump some fluid in there, but they did say it was filled, and it certainly wasn't. Item 36, fog lamps, operational. And there's actually one missing. So we'll go over here, let's see item 36, fog lamps. You can see they checked it off, and it's under the operational checklist here. So according to this checklist, they checked it, and it was operational. Now, as soon as we pulled out of the lot, we didn't trade our car in, this Dart right here, we didn't trade that in for it. We just bought the Jeep. So I was driving the Dart home because this is for my wife, so we let her drive it home. And as soon as we pulled out of the lot, I noticed there was a light missing. And if you look, you see the fog light over there? Yeah, nice little, I believe it's LED. I don't know, I'm no expert, but fancy little fog light. So we got to the gas station to fill it up because, of course, they let us leave the lot with the fuel light on. So I got down and I looked, and whoa, look at that. It's not just not operational, it's not even there. So we're further into the checklist here. Item 69, all fluid levels under hood. Now if you look here at item 69, it's a post-road test. So they're supposed to do a pre-road test and a post-road test here. So they claimed a second time that all fluid levels under the hood were good, which obviously they're not. And let's see, clean engine compartment. That was just simply not done. And I'll show you here specifically. If you look up on the cowl, there's leaves in there. Now I just want to point out, because you can't really tell, but well, I'm sure you could see outside. I don't think we picked up very many leaves on the ride home last night. And there weren't any trees near the dealership, so this wasn't done at the dealership and then collected afterwards while the vehicle sat waiting for a buyer. These came in on the vehicle and they're still on there, so I just claim they cleaned under the hood. Also, if you look, you can tell it's kind of quite dirty right there. They didn't spray it off or anything. There's dirt everywhere. It's just filthy under here. This little white stuff here, that's probably from the ride home, because as you can see, it's snowy outside, so there's salt on the road. We live near Chicago here, so it is just absolutely filthy under here. See that? I mean, just it's dust. You can wipe it off. So there was no attempt made whatsoever to clean this engine compartment. You can see it's pretty dirty. Not bad. It's a couple years old. I mean, if you own the vehicle, you gather up dirt like that. But if you tell somebody you're going to clean something, usually you clean it. At least at my house. I don't know about St. Charles Chrysler Jeep Dodge. Anyways, this I just found. Let's go look at the checklist again so I can see here. I'm just gonna hold this here while I look for it. Somewhere on here it says that they checked the air filter. Let's see, I'm looking for it here. Sorry if this is getting boring. I'm looking for it here. My apologies again. Let's start from the top. Hood release, brake fluid. Check this side here. Oh, there we go. Item 72. Inspect air filter. You can see that it's checked off. So they inspected it. As you can see, there's quite a bit of dirt around the housing unit there. You can see there's some debris just on the outside of the filter alone. Inside the compartment, I mean, you couldn't take 5 seconds and run a shop vac in there and get that stuff out. You can see one of the bushings there at the bottom is kind of folded over. I'll point it out for you right down there. That bushing's folded over, so it's not seated properly either. And then if you look at the filter here, it looks like it may be the one that originally came with the Jeep. I don't know about their standards, but my personal standards, I would call this unacceptable. And I mean, for me to buy an air filter, it's really relatively inexpensive. I can imagine a dealership might get them at discount. I would hope, at least, if they do a lot of business with a part dealer, but I can't speak to that for sure, but I would imagine. So anyways, another thing I wanted to point out here before we get to the real serious part was at the dealership we were charged $300 for wheel locks, and that would just be a special lug nut that takes a key so nobody can steal your rims. Now again, like I stated earlier, I'm no expert, but those just look like simple 3/4 lug nuts to me, and you can grab them and they're not plastic covers, those are metal lug nuts. So this is driver front. Got driver rear here. Still no locks here. We were charged for them. Let's go back around here. There's passenger rear. No locks. Sorry, I'm big. That's a small gap. And then we got that's passenger front there again. No locks. Now that's not a big deal. I'm not terribly worried about my wheels getting stolen. But I did pay $300 for wheel locks, which were never installed. So, that being said, being the unfortunate circumstance that we bought a used vehicle, this is what we came home with. Oh, and the worst part is right here. We parked her last night, drove her home from St. Charles. Parked her last night. I just moved it back so I could shoot this video, and I noticed we got a big old oil stain on the ground. Look at that. Now you can see over there, there's water from the tires. Obviously it's snowy, so we're going to get some stuff in the garage. But that is motor oil. And that is just from sitting overnight. So that's not a frame drip. That's not missed a little fill in the oil. There is something in this vehicle leaking oil. It should not be leaking oil. So there you have it. Another quality vehicle from St. Charles Chrysler Dodge Jeep in St. Charles, Illinois.